Okay, so I just started the recording now, folks. So how many of you know about Otto and what we're looking at today? And has everyone seen the webinar, or have you just heard about it through the grapevine, from Sean, from a few other people in the office?
I
Where's
heard about
people's
it through
knowledge
Sean.
level of Otto? You've heard about it through Sean? Okay, great. All right, so let me give you guys a quick background about Otto and what it is before we actually start right into the training. So Otto really was developed 6 years ago to run a brokerage. We've been operating it in a brokerage for the last 6 years. We've processed close to 13,000 transactions through it today. In the middle of last year, 2011, we basically started licensing it out to other brokerages across the country. So it's a system that's been around for 6 years. It's been utilized by brokers. It's been utilized to run a brokerage. And really why it was created was when we first started looking at mortgage brokerage and looking for a system to run a brokerage, there wasn't really anything out there. What there was 5 or 6 different things that we needed to string together to run our business. So that would be a CRM program. That would be maybe a database management program. That would be spreadsheets or tick sheets to run our process flow of our deals. So selfishly, we started to build something to run a brokerage. And then as it developed, it first started out as a database program, and it's now an application that provides you reminders on how to run your business. It helps you with your process flow. It has an integrated CRM program. So just by doing what you would do every day as part of your mortgage process, CRM is automatically going to start to your clients without you having to do anything different. Okay. So that was the whole premise behind Otto. So what you're going to see for the trial today is how do you get started with Otto. I have all your usernames and passwords set up. I will forward those all on to Christy. So she has the complete list, and I'll forward them to each of you individually. So what you'll be starting out with is the dashboard, and hopefully what you see on your screen right now is Otto with filing cabinet and a login. This portion is just the dashboard, and the dashboard is the reminder system. It's a central conditions management. It's your document storage. There's a couple things that we don't turn on right away for the trial. That would be the CRM. Because the CRM is automated, we don't want your clients getting CRM that they're not supposed to get when you're just learning how to use the system. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second piece as well, we may turn this on during your trial, and Christy and I will chat about this more, is the online application. We do have an online application that pushes into Expert and pushes into Otto at the same time. So no longer do you have to do multiple points of data entry, you're only going to do it in one spot. Okay? So the first thing that I would ask people to do on their computers is you have to change your date settings to a US format. Okay? So I'm just going to walk you through how to do that quickly on a PC. Do we have any Mac users in the group?
Yep.
Okay. So you're just going to do it under settings and date and time, and then there's a language setting there. You're just going to switch it to English US. Okay? On a PC, all you're going to do is go to your control panel. You're going to go to clock language and region, and you're going to go change date and time or number format. And you just want to make sure it says English United States. Okay, so you just choose from the drop-down there. Once you do that, you're just going to click Apply and OK, and that's all you need to do to get started. Okay. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to Otto, and basically your Otto login is going to be your firm code plus 3 zeros and a 1 .automortgage.ca. Again, you don't have to remember this. I am going to email it all to you, and then you're going to log in. So here we are on a demo site. And I'm just going to log in as a broker. Actually, I'm going to log in as myself. So the view that I have on the demo site is a manager's view. So it tells me the associate. The associate means the person responsible for working the file within the dashboard. Okay? Each individual broker would have their own version, and you would only see the deals that you're working on. Unless you're Christy or Jim or the other owners, you'd be able to see who actually was working on the file. So the dashboard is broken down into two sections. You have your deal statuses on the left. Those 5 deal statuses are a new deal queue. This is where all your deals are going to come into when you first upload them from Expert. My deal queue is when you take ownership of your file to work on it. So from this point going forward, you're only going to get reminders associated with your own deals, and you're the only person that's able to see it. Conditionally approved by lender, pretty self-explanatory. When the deal is approved, you're going to move it to this status. Accepted by client. This is typically when you have a signed commitment letter. And this is important because this is when your CRM would start automatically to your client. So they would get a CRM piece from you with your face and your contact information, and it would be a thank you note, thanking them for the business and asking for other referral opportunities. Last but not least, waiting to close. All your conditions are met, and you're just looking to get paid on the file. Okay? So whoever's doing payroll and compliance in the office, they could just be looking at all these waiting to close deals and going into each one of them to see all the compliance documents there. Okay? Now on the right-hand side of the dashboard is you have your reminders. And these reminders are going to walk you through what you need to do for all your deals. It's going to help you prioritize. Okay? Give you a couple examples here. We'll take a look at this. Submit deal to lenders past 1 hour. Okay? So as soon as you take ownership of a deal or a deal ends up in your My Deal queue, you'll get a reminder 1 hour after it's in there saying you haven't submitted the deal yet to the lender. And there's an up arrow here. And it tells you how many days or hours that deal has been sitting in the queue for. Okay, so in this case, 19 days, 85 days. So each deal allows you to prioritize. We then have this FU button for follow-up. So if you knew you actioned something already, and let's say you were waiting on documents from the customer, you could check off Ryan Kessler, I followed up with him, so I don't need to do anything else in the moment. Okay? So other examples of other reminders are outstanding conditions. Outstanding conditions is great because you have a down arrow here, and it will actually count down till the number of days left you have until the closing date. So this one's August 28th, 2012. So it's telling me I have 65 days until my closing date. Where these ones here, where there's no days, is because we've actually passed the closing dates. Okay? Any questions so far? Seem straightforward so far? Okay. Now, everything that I'm going to go through with you in Auto is in the help screen here. So the help screen gives you PDFs on how to flow through the training and just using Auto every day. So you have a PDF on all the reminders and triggers, what starts them, what stops them, how best to use the document screen or the condition screen, how do you upload deals from Expert, all right here, tips and tactics, or tips and tricks, very easy to access. Okay. The dashboard is your home page, so when you first get up in the morning, you want to log into Auto to see what you need to do that day. The other tabs at the top are reports. These reports are for managers, so you could actually get activity reports on how people are doing. Park deals. The parking lot is typically where pre-approvals would go, or deals that, you know, you're going to use that deal number, but you don't need to have reminders on it right away, so you could use that parking lot for that information. And then the tools page, this is where you actually get started in uploading deals from Expert. Okay? So every one of you will be able to upload deals from Expert. What I'd recommend is you always use this link to get into Expert, because Expert has been known to change between US format and Canadian format whenever they feel like it. So I don't know if you know what happens, but Canadian format, you know, the date could be August 10th, 2012. If you switch to the US format, it's now going to be October 8th, 2012. So it becomes pretty important. So this is where you also change your password. For all the managers or administrators, this is where you're going to add more brokers. So if you're supporting more brokers, let's say you had central underwriting and you just had to add more brokers' names in, that's where you'd put them in here. Okay. And then Christy, what I'll go through with you later is this lender product table. And this is how you can add more products and lenders to auto. So they all show up in your lender product dropdown.
Great.
Okay. So the first thing here is we're going to take deals out of Expert. So I'm just going to click on the link. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Again, we were in the tools page. We're then going to click on the D&H link. We're going to go into Expert. And I'm just going to log in. Hopefully I remember my password. I was on vacation for 2.5 weeks. Great. This brings up a very important point with auto. Your password is not going to expire in 30 days. It's not going to time out while you're in auto. You can leave it open all day long and it's never going to time out. Okay, so now when you're in Expert, you're just going to click on the Tools tab, and you're going to go down to Extract to CRM. And what I'd recommend is anytime you upload a deal into Expert right now, a new deal, just pull them out individually, or you could pull out 4 or 5 at a time. In this case, I'm just going to pull out, I'm just going to pick a random deal, deal number 12,000. Search it. Okay. So you'll have 2 different options. Select all unlocked records or select all unlocked records on this page. What that means is if you have like 8 pages of deals that you wanted to upload, you just select all unlocked records. What I'd recommend is you just check off individually the ones that you want to actually extract out of Expert. You go to CSV file type and always use consolidated. Okay? You just wait a second and then click Extract to CRM again. It tells you it's 100% complete. And one last time, you click on Extract to CRM and then it asks you, do you want to open or save? And I always just do save. Save as, you want Excel, a CSV file. And I'm going to put it on my desktop. Okay, any questions so far? Oh, this is easy. Now I go back into Auto, and what I'm going to do is click Browse. Go to where you saved it. And I'm just going to look for that consolidated file. And then I'm going to click Upload. And you'll get a message that it's successfully uploaded into Auto. Now when I go back to my dashboard, I now have that deal number 12,000 sitting in my new deal queue. Okay? The best way to utilize Auto is through the online application. I don't want you to take a look at what we're doing right now and say, this is the way I'm always going to be using it. We actually have to do work with Expert to push the application in, but when you're going through your trial, you want to make sure you like a system before you actually go through the work to do that. Okay? So once your deal is in auto, in the new deal queue, you want to click on it, and the first thing you need to do is take ownership of the file. So you do that by clicking Accept. Okay? So when I clicked into the deal number, so I could do it through here, or I could click on any deal number in the reminders for the deal I want to go into. It will take you directly to this Client tab. Now, in the client, once you're in the deal, this left-hand menu here is all deal-centric. It's everything you want to know about the particular file. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is click Accept. That means I've now taken ownership of the file, and you'll see this John Jeffrey file is sitting here in the My Deal queue. From this point going forward, no one else is going to be able to see it. Okay? Now, there are three things that you want to do after you've taken ownership of the file on this page. So I'm back in the client page. The first thing you want to do is make sure you have your subject or your conditions date correct, as well as your closing date. Okay? So in this case, let's just say I'm going to change my closing date till June 1st. Because I made a change, I want to protect it. Because if I were to pull this deal out of Expert again, I want to make sure that the information that I put into auto remains unchanged, because the reality of how we utilize Expert is once you click Submit and send it to the lender, most people don't go back into it unless they have to get paid on a file and they just have to update things at the end. So auto acts as your reminder system, your database, everything all in one. Okay? So once I've added the right date, I've protected it, I'm going to update it to save it. Okay? So that's the first thing. So you want to focus on your dates. The next thing that you want to do is focus on client email address. Okay? You want to make sure a client email address is there. It will come out of Expert. It will come from your online application automatically. But if you don't have an email address for your client, the client won't receive CRM from you because it's all email driven. Now, if your client doesn't have an email address, what I recommend is you actually put your own email address in there. Because when the CRM pieces go out, if that client has a birthday, at least you'll get the email notification and you could decide to do something different if you wanted. Okay? You will get reports on birthdays and term maturities, but at least on the day of the person's birthday, you'll also get the email as a reminder. Okay? So in this case, there's an email address in here. The third thing that you want to make sure that you do is you have a broker assigned to the file. So if you are the broker on the deal, you want to make sure you go into that deal and it's the advisor information, so just put who the advisor is. So I'm going to the advisor tab, and I'm going to choose Phil Kessel. Okay? Once I've added Phil Kessel, I saved it. Now when I go back to this client page, Phil Kessel is assigned to the deal. So anytime a CRM piece goes out, you know it's going to go out with Phil Kessel's face and contact information on it. Okay? So if there's assistants out there supporting different brokers, you're just going to toggle between the different brokers to make sure the right face is on those CRM pieces. Does that seem easy? Okay. The next page in auto is the application page. This is the main driver of all of auto. And we wanted to make sure the system was easy to use. There wasn't a ton of different things that you actually needed to do. Okay? So as you do something on a deal, all you have to do is tell auto by clicking a calendar. When you submit a deal to a lender, you tell it you've submitted it. We did not tie the responses or the statuses to Expert, like I said before, because most people stop interacting with Expert from the time they click submit, and more lenders aren't sending responses through Expert anymore. Like, I don't know if you guys log in and check your deals regularly, but the number of deals that still say in progress when they're even funded, it's pretty high because the lenders aren't even coming back and saying the deal is approved, accepted, that sort of thing. Okay? So in this case, let's say for argument's sake that I submitted this deal to the lender last Thursday on the 24th. I'm going to put the date in. I'm going to click update. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm in this application purpose, I'm going to use this drop down to say whether it's an owner-occupied purchase, a refinance, a revenue property, or a switch. I'm going to say it's an owner-occupied purchase, so my client is going to get a welcome to your new home email when the CRM goes out. Okay? So here, I've submitted the deal. You're going to go on and just go about your business day in and day out, and then next time you check your dashboard, you log in the next day, you'll have a reminder that says, follow up with the lender. It's been after 24 hours. You don't have an approval back. So John Jeffrey here, I'm the one working on it. It's been 2 days since I submitted it because I submitted it on the 24th, so that's 2 business days, and I don't have an approval. Do you guys think that'll be helpful?
Yep.
Okay. Once the approval comes back, you're going to stop the reminders just by saying, oh, the deal is now approved. What that does is it stops all the reminders associated with getting the deal approved and starts all the reminders associated with getting the deal accepted, all your conditions met, off to the lawyers. Okay? So I put in the approval date, came back on Friday, I've saved it. Now, what would you guys typically do after your deal was approved? What's someone's standard practice? Anyone? You guys do an email to the client? Do you sit down with your clients face-to-face and go through the commitment letter? What do you guys do?
I set up a time to sign off.
Okay. And when you're signing off with a client, do you just go through the commitment letter, or do you provide them like a checklist of what else they need to provide you?
I always get the paperwork up front first, so it's typically just the sign off.
Okay. Okay, great. So if you, in your case, sorry, who was that?
It's Chase.
Is that John? Okay, Chase.
Chase.
So in your case, Chase? Okay, so in your case, Chase, what you could do is even before you submitted the deal, you could actually build a condition list. So I've gone into this conditions list here of what you have for documents, okay? The deal that you upload, it'll have 5 conditions automatically. Pre-authorized debit form, solicitor, void check, signed commitment letter, credit consent, okay? Well, let's say you had the pay stub. So all I did was the pay stub was already showing there as a potential condition. I just added it. Let's say I needed a letter of employment. I can add it in there. Let's say I need a gift letter. Okay? So I could just build what I have or build what is required for the approval that I may not have. Okay? What I would then do is upload any documents that I did have for that client already. So I would do that just by clicking Add, and I would just go to my desktop, and I've got some fake documents here that I'm just going to upload. So I'll just say that, and then I'm going to upload a gift letter. Okay? So this is the way that I recommend adding documents because it's easy. So just click, and then as soon as I click Update, it uploaded both of those documents in what? Less than 5 seconds. So if I wanted to view those documents, let's just say I had a gift letter. I don't even think this is a real gift letter. I just named it a gift letter. It would actually pop up here. Oh, there you go. Gift letter. Okay. What you then can do is you can actually email these documents into the lender. So Chase, all those documents that you had from your client up front, you could just check off what you're going to send in, go email selected, do conditions, lists, and documents, and it's going to give it in sort of a nice table format for your lender, and then all your attachments will be below. Once you type in once who you want to email to, it will save it, so you could just go and select. I'm going to send it to myself. And I'll say docs. And you can just type in around here, hi lender, thanks, Kevin. As soon as I hit send, it sends your email. So what this does is actually logs all your outgoing email communication as well. So date and time, who it was sent from, who it was sent to, and what was sent. So if a lender came back and said, I didn't get those documents, all you have to do is just click on it, go in, click resend, and there's the email that you'd sent. Okay. We've had a lot of great feedback from auto users, and there's approximately 450 of them across the country now, about this conditions page, because everything becomes very easy. You could actually just send a straight conditions list to a client just by checking off what your client needs to provide you. Okay, so you just go email selected, conditions list only. That generates something there. You can type more details in there if you want. Right? So, you know, if letter of employment needs full-time, I don't know, whatever you want to put in there. Okay. What do you think about this page, guys?
That's good.
Seems straightforward to use?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there any way to create some sort of like template, like, you know, a business for self template, employment template, or you just have to add them?
Right now, you just have to add them.
Okay.
Right now, yeah. So as we've gotten more and more users on the system, they've come back and asked for different improvements. So if you guys have certain things that you do want to see, I'd encourage you just to email me, so we just put them on our project wish list, and as we get around to doing different upgrades, then we go through all of them and say, yeah, there's a lot of requests for this one. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to disregard that email. So building conditions lists are really easy. We do have functionality so that you can actually type in large detailed notes. So for any of those assistants that are out there, you could type in 250 characters by each condition if you want. What you have to do is you have to figure out what works best for you for your documents. In my case, I like to upload all my documents individually. I like to have my pay stub separated from my letter of employment. Some people like to upload all their income conditions together, all their down payment conditions together. So what I do recommend is that you still put your conditions in separately of what you need, but when you go to upload your documents, you could just say this was the LOE T4 pay stub, and then just upload it as one document. So figure out what works best for you guys, and then that'll become really easy. This becomes a real time saver, because a number of times that people go back and say, go back to a client, oh, I still need this, I still need this, I still need this. Well, I get lots of people saying, well, I'm always retyping the email. Others will say, I've always gone back into my sent emails and trying to find the one I sent them and resending it. Because everything is here, it's central, everything happens in one spot, and it's very easy for people to use. Okay? I'm going to go back to the application page. I'm not going to keep showing you what all the different dates do, but I will tell you. Client acceptance, this is when you have your signed commitment letter, and this is when your CRM starts. So, you know, we want CRM to be a carrot. You want to tell Auto when you've done something, so your clients are getting more notes from you automatically. You don't have to think about it. The feedback we've gotten from everyone that's looked at Auto and people on Auto, everyone loves the idea of CRM. The problem is most of the time people just don't get around to sending it, because that next deal walks in the door and you just don't have time to actually send out that thank you note. You have the best intentions of doing it, but it's going to sit on your desk until that next deal is done. Okay. So in this case, I'll put in the acceptance date. Now, when you do have an acceptance date for a file, it will take you automatically to the next tab, which is the lender product page. And this is where you're going to tell Auto who the lender was. This drop-down matches the drop-down in Expert. So Christy, this is what you would have control over. So you can add or take away. What I'd probably recommend is you take away and put the lenders you would typically just deal with, right? You know, how often are you guys going to do a Quebec Laurentian bank deal? Probably very few and far between. So that type of thing just makes it a little cleaner. Christy also will have control over the product table. So once you select a particular lender, there's a product table in the background for that particular lender. Okay, so in this case, Scotiabank, let's choose a 5-year term. Actually, let's say it's a 4-year because it's 2.99, 420 grand mortgage. And what it does is automatically, from me choosing the product, when I update it, it's going to basically change your maturity date. So if I go back to a 1-year, it's unprotected, sorry, go 1 year. Sorry, I chose 2-year. It'll change your maturity date to 2014. So it takes your closing date plus your term. Okay. Now, if your lender does their maturity date based on IAD, just click the calendar and you can change it. Okay. You can manage multiple products on all your files. So if you're using Scotiabank and you have a line of credit, a 2-year and a 5-year term, so you just go and put that in. 250 grand. Again, we'll say it was 3.19. And we'll also say it's a line of credit, but we're going to say it's for 50 grand. And we're going to say it's prime plus 1. So it assumes a plus, but just put 1.0. So this helps later on when you're trying to search your database for variance on variables and lines of credit. So today, right now, if you're at prime minus 0.1, when variables hopefully go back down to prime minus 60, you may want to sort all your variables at prime minus 0.1. So you could go back and refinance them. Okay? Does that seem pretty easy? So we've covered off the client page, the application page. I'll go through a couple more dates. We covered off the lender product and the conditions page. Okay. The last couple dates in here for the application page is final approval from the lender. All your conditions are met, but you don't have, it hasn't been instructed yet. So we'll just say today, got all my files, hasn't been instructed. This will keep the deal sitting in that accepted status or client acceptance. And it will only move to the waiting to close category once you put in sent notification to solicitor. So this is when you verify that it's been instructed. You'll see that I put this in here. It will, and I'll put in the date. This Jeffrey file is now in waiting to close. But the Jeffrey file is also telling me I still have outstanding conditions. It's 15 days until closing. Or it's in this outstanding conditions. And right here. And it tells me I have 3 days left. It's telling me that I still have outstanding conditions because we didn't make those reminders go away just by putting in that you have final approval. You may give yourself a condition like you're going to order a client a magazine subscription as a welcome home, or as a funding present or something like that. If you do that, you have this button here for confirmation completed file. So when you've done everything that you needed to do on the file, all you're going to do is click off confirmation completed file. And once I do that, and I go back, it's removed all the outstanding conditions for the Jeffrey file. Okay. The last two dates, receive payment from lender. So this is typically, if the payroll person and compliance person was looking at everything, they would be the ones putting in this date. Depends on how you set it up for your office, and Christy, maybe you and I will sort of talk offline on what will work best. But when you do get paid on a file, all you put is that you received your payment, and then refusal date means this deal is actually canceled. So deal fell apart, deal's not going to come alive, you're going to use a different loan code if this deal were to come live again. Okay? Any questions about this application page? Great. I'm going to cover through the last couple tabs. Property info screen. This is just your subject property. You typically don't have to do anything in here. What I'd recommend is that if you do have a pre-approval and you don't want to extract the information from Expert again when that deal becomes live, if it's already in auto, you can just type in your subject property address here. Otherwise, if you do the extract, it will upload automatically. The appraisal screen, it will track when you order appraisals, when you get them back, who the company was, who they're paid by, the charges, all that stuff. Okay? You will get a reminder that says you need to follow up with the appraisal for the report, only if you say that the appraisal was a condition on the conditions page. Okay? Advisor tab, that's what I showed you earlier, with the drop down with all the brokers in the office. And then last but not least, the referral page. The referral page is to track all your referral partners. So first name, last name, you can put as much information as you want. If you put the information in Expert today, it will transfer over. If it's in your online application, once you get to that point, it will automatically transfer into auto. Okay? And then you have a drop down here of whether it's client, resale, builder, retailer, realtor, other, and then you can track what the others are. Okay? Any questions? That is how to use the dashboard in a nutshell. Okay? To get started, the first things that you guys are going to do, and maybe Christy, maybe you and I will do the first upload together of some of the deals for people, just so people can get started. But the first step is going to be uploading deals, and you're going to do that from the tools page and pull out your deals from Expert.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you want to see the online application right now just to see what it looks like? Or do you want to wait until you get to that point, and then I can show you how to do that?
Sure. I guess we could see it now.
Okay. This is what you really want to strive to get to in using auto, because you have a single point of data entry. Okay. So you will also have a portal, and the portal this is the broker portal, and it really has these four tabs. Your applications would look like this. There's a link here that you would embed on your website. You could forward the link to your client if you have your clients do data processing for you. So the application that would reside on your website would look like this. Now it's all white. You would typically have it framed within your website. And the application basically says, there's 5 optional questions. Tell us about your goals. What are you looking for? It has a drop-down. So if a client finds you online, you've never spoken with this client, at least you have an idea of what they're looking for. It has a mortgage request amount, home value. Clients will tell you how their credit is. Just about every client always tells you it's excellent. And then product options, fixed variable combination. So at least you have some sort of knowledge on how to get started if you've never spoken with them. But they're all optional. Clients will tell you what their contact preference is. They can choose the number of applicants that they have. If there's 2, go side by side. And then it's a basic application. Primary borrower 1. So I'm just going to put Jane Doe. I'll put in a birth date. Okay. Ask me for resident history. Okay. If a client says that they've only been somewhere for 2 years, I'll ask them for 3 years worth of resident history. So I'm just going to put 3 years, 1 month. And that's all is required for a client to get you an application. We do ask them for employment. We do ask them for assets. They can just easily just add in more assets. And properties owned. Okay? Once they say that they have read all this, they click submit, they will get a note that says it's successfully submitted. You, as the broker, will get an email that you have a new application in your portal. So I'm just going to refresh my page. And there's Jane Doe. Deal just came in today. I would then go in as the broker and complete the balance of the information. So this is what the client filled out. You'll see that there's more things that are required by me in order to get the application into Expert. And then this is where it ended after properties owned for your customer, but you're going to complete subject property details, mortgage information, referral partner. You can put in notes here. This will go in the internal notes section of Expert. Once I click submit, this deal ends up in Expert right away, and every single field that you see here transfers to the right spot in Expert. Okay, so it's no longer like the Expert customer app that you guys may or may not use today. Everything actually does transfer in and it's in the right spot. So your client can do about 50% of your data entry for you, and you have one single spot to do all the rest of your data entry. Once you click submit and the deal's in Expert, all you're doing is pulling your bureau in Expert and tweaking your numbers and clicking submit. And then the rest of the time, you're on your dashboard. Okay? Because you guys weren't on the webinar, would you like to see what some of the CRM pieces look like that would go out? Thank you note. So your photo, contact information here, name and title. These tiles here, you would actually choose what those tiles are. There's 5 different choices. So there's these 2, there's mortgage calculators, rates, and then stay connected. And you would provide us the links on where you want them to be linked to. Could be linked to your Facebook page, could be linked to your website. Okay. Anytime a client replies to any one of these pieces, it goes to your everyday inbox. And it looks like it comes from your everyday email. So you'll still get it on your BlackBerry or your iPhone or your Android. Okay? Anyone have any questions? Is there a quiet group? Is this what you expected it to be, or is it different? Anyone?
Hi, Kevin. Yeah, I definitely think this is what we were expecting it to look like as well.
Okay, good. Okay. Someone else had another comment.
Oh, I was just going to say I wasn't too sure what to expect, but I'm pretty happy with everything I've seen so far. So.
Okay, good. Okay. This isn't the only training session you guys are going to get. Okay. Sorry, Graham. you can ask a question now. Your
Okay,
audio
I was just wondering,
is-
like this looks awesome and everything. In the past, I've tried different CRM tools and stuff like that. I always struggle on getting implemented and the best way. So I was just wondering if you have any ideas on how you implement your auto system into your daily routine. You know, is there just some ideas, strategies, things like that?
Yeah. Okay. And you bring up a great point, Graham, and that's a pretty common comment about most CRM programs. I think the first thing that you have to think about when you think about auto is it's not just a CRM program. It really isn't a CRM program. It's an operating system. Okay? So because this supports you through your process, what you really have to do is you have to stop the way that you're currently doing things. Like we all track our deals some way, somehow. A lot of us do them in our head and saying, I need to follow up on that file. Or some of us have tick sheets or spreadsheets or a whiteboard. We're all doing it some way, but we're doing it manually. Auto, just by you taking an application and having it come into Auto, it's automatically going to give you reminders. You don't have to worry about adding this to a task list.
Yeah.
The reminders will automatically pop up. So just from that, it should start helping you work your database. Okay?
Yeah, and it
Your
looks
CRM
great.
secondary
Like
because it just
the follow-up on a client acceptance, and if we haven't heard back, you know, within 24 hours, that stuff is brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, and it's all basic, right? Like we've all thought about, we've all said, wouldn't it be great if we had something like this? But no one's ever really just built it. And you know, this is why it's important to have a system, and it's one system. Really, to your point, Graham, is how do you make it what you do day in and day out? It's going to be getting you onto the application faster, because then everything is auto, right? You're taking your applications in auto. As soon as you take it here, it's into Expert, it's into your dashboard. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
This is really what will make it sing for you. Like I said, the CRM secondary. We all want to do CRM. Most of the time we just don't get around to it, or we're not technical enough just to get it set up, right? We've had these CRM programs that we may have been paying for, but it's always, at the end of the month, I'll get to it. The deal funded, now I'll go and put it into the system. But what people also don't realize is an important part of CRM is that it needs to start during the process of your deal, because clients are going to refer you when they're most happy with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's normally when they just got approved. So you really need to, that's why that acceptance, when the client signs a commitment letter, and it just automatically sends out a thank you note within 24 hours. You don't even have to think about it. It's just going.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I had some questions. One of them was like when we get you know, status updates or reminders or anything like that, do we have to be logged into Auto to receive those, or are they sent to our email like kind of like a pop-up?
Yeah, no, it is basically something that just comes up on this dashboard.
Okay.
And feedback that we had from brokers is that they didn't want it via email, or the majority of people didn't want it via email, just because you could get multiple reminders on stuff that you need to do.
Okay.
Has anyone used a program called like SharePoint or anything by Microsoft? No?
No.
Okay. Well, SharePoint is a program it's basically a project management software where people use it. Some people have used it for managing their deals. But it's almost like building a campaign planner. As soon as you put that deal into the campaign planner, things just automatically happen. Okay? But what ends up happening with programs like that is you could get like, if you have 10 deals on the go and you had 5 reminders for that particular file, you can end up getting 50 reminders in one day in your email. And that doesn't really, people tend to just start disregarding them because there's too many.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So.
What about like when something gets sent out? Do we get like something saying, you know, this was sent out to that person, like in case they call and say, oh, thanks for the send out, and we're like, what was sent, or?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the month, you get a report about what was sent, but it doesn't. You don't get CC'd in on
Okay.
every deal that, every piece that gets sent out. Again, same reason. You would just start getting bombarded with emails.
Okay.
But you'll know exactly what the campaign looks like. Okay. So we will not turn the CRM on until you guys say we're comfortable with using it and we want to turn it on. Because if you put in wrong dates or something like that, let's say you put in an acceptance date and the client didn't really accept it and you had your closing date wrong, they could get a welcome to your new home with the wrong on a day that they actually didn't even move into the property. So it's just getting used to how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to forward all the login information to all of you throughout the day. We had a couple more people added sort of after we got the list. So Christy, if once I send you the initial list, if you could just verify that I got everyone. And then we will go from there. And then what I would recommend is that you guys play with it over the next 3 or 4 days just to get a feel of it. And just choose 1 or 2 deals that you have currently on the go to bring it in and just play with those deals. And then we'll start doing training sessions. We could either do it a couple times a week, once a week, whatever you like, and we do like a 15-minute power call. Quick 15-minute webinar just to see where you guys are at and give you some tips on how to work through certain elements. But the trick, like any system, is you have to use it for it to work for you. Okay. Great. So I will organize everything through Christy, and we'll go from there. Everyone will have my contact information, so you can email me or call me with any questions that you have, and you can also send emails to support@automortgage.ca, and we also have support staff that can help you as well. Okay?
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for your time, everyone. Look forward to working with you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, goodbye.
Thanks.